So when someone has this condition, they're at points their spirit is kicked out of their body.
At times yes, and at times no. I was called in the case of Peter Sutcliffe. Peter Sutcliffe was a mass murderer, and I was asked, is this man possessed? And it was obvious he had no control whatsoever over what he did. He was working as a grave digger, and he had to dig out these graves and move gravestones. From that moment on, a spirit that was there took control of him and told him he had to murder women. That man was totally controlled, but not everybody is. Sometimes the spirit remains in the body, but it is under the control of an ancient evil spirit who overrides. As I say, I was overtaken by a spirit. My own spirit was crushed. It was small. It was inside me. There were times when I tried to resist and I couldn't. And it took me almost 18 months. I was paralysed. I was armchair bound. My breathing was taken over by a plug in the wall. And it took me 18 months to be free of it. But it varies from person to person. Some people retain an element of themselves and some people don't. It depends on the category of spirit and the amount of resistance in the person.
Is there any reason other than death or sleep for our spirit to leave our physical body?
Yes, there is. For the spirit to be forced out from the body, there are two aspects here: drugs and alcohol. They will force the spirit from the body. Now, if you leave a car unattended and unlocked, joyriders will get in and they will drive it and they will crash it. It's the same with the body. If you leave it unattended and unlocked, they're unclean spirits. Certain categories will look for this, and they are like the youthful joyriders we see today. They will take your body and they will ride it and they will crash it. Now remember that you only have the body for, the Bible tells us, 70 years. Before you came here, you had a spirit, and after you leave, you'll have a spirit. And at night, the spirit takes over and the spirit has its work to do. So the actual time you spend in the body is very small, but this is very important. Karma is real. How you act in that physical time will determine a lot of what will happen to you in the later aspects of your karma.
Is, say, physical, traumatic physical, or potentially sexual abuse as well, do these create situations and scenarios where the spirit will leave the body as a way of...
Yes. When the child is abused, the spirit will leave the body. And what will happen is that this is what happens when you have bifurcated personalities. Multiple personalities are normally through child abuse. Now, my great friend, the Church of England exorcist, the Reverend Christopher Neil Smith, was an absolute expert, and he said that when a child is abused, it is usually by someone who is possessed. So, and he had great success in exorcising and bringing them back to normality. The boss of the Mortuary Psychiatric Hospital, Professor Henry Ray, he was very interested in the origins of mental illness. And a lot of it, I would not like to give a percentage, but a lot of it is from dark spirits who grip a man through alcoholism, through drugs, through miserliness and other personality afflictions. And the Reverend Christopher Neil Smith, he exorcised a lot of and brought them back to normality. A lot of evil things can control a man, can get him and restrict him and control him. And Professor Henry Ray was very interested in this, and we talked about this at some length. The Reverend Kenneth Green, the exorcist for the Diocese of Chelmsford, he said once, I can go to a mental home. Nobody knows who I am. He said, I have a scarf around my dog collar. He said, I can just walk in ordinary clothes, and there are people there who, on seeing me, will throw themselves into a corner, froth at the mouth, and be uncontrollable.
It's been said that with some forms of schizophrenia, that the voices, say in the thought, basically they'll pick out the worst things that have ever happened to you, and they'll keep shoving them right in front of your face to make you feel bad, to make you feel low, and just to create a traumatic stream of negative energy to which they can feed off. And as well as that, if you're in a state, your immune system is down, so to speak. Now, I'm sorry to speak over it if she's about to answer, but I just wanted to say that they can access memory.
They can see inside us. They can see inside the higher levels of spirit. There are lower levels. Amongst the most dangerous of these are the hemophagists. The hemophagists, they feed on the power in the blood. Now, just as you spill blood in the sea, sharks will smell that from miles away, and they will come. The reason why a lot of the old sorcerers would spill blood in blood sacrifices, and some still do, some huntsmen don't realise what they're doing, but when they spill blood, there are spirits in the air who will come and feed off that. And there are people such as Winston Churchill who become bloodmongers. They thrive on the spilling of blood, because then the spirits that come to them as a reward, they can help them in various ways, and they feed on the person, but sometimes there are little rewards given. There are many. The lowest type is the elementals. These are your types of spirits that live in old houses, in damp skirting boards there, that will give strange smells and strange noises and scufflings at night. They are the lowest and the easiest to exercise.